Hello there, and welcome to Candid Coach Conversations. I'm Kimberly, founder of Live Life Fully, and today I have with me Teresa Anderson, a certified Live Life Fully coach and published author of The Table. Welcome, Teresa.
Thank you for having me.
So glad you're here. We've been doing a lot of talking lately about our present self, our past self, our present self, and our future self. And so today I was hoping you would share with us when you think about meeting your future self, if you'll share with us, what would that mean or what would that look like? What does that mean to you when you hear the words meeting your future self?
I immediately hear the word future. It kind of stands out. It's more broadcasted. And so when I think about the future, it's not waiting for you. It's being built by you, essentially.
I love that. Yes.
So it's about the choices, when no one applauds, or the self that is moving and activating with every decision that you make today, essentially. So the distance between your present and your purpose is measured in daily choices. It's measured in intention, right? And so here recently, I was trying to cultivate a lead magnet, and because of the table, I'm very table focused right now. And so I came up with the idea of your future self sitting across from you at the table, and what would they say to you? How would you feel? What would you want them to look like? Would they be proud of you? Would they be proud of who you are in this moment today? Would they have advice, or what would their advice be? And what does that level of legacy even mean to you?
Oh my gosh, I love the word legacy. And I love that you said the future is actually what you're building each day. So true. And I think that's something that a lot of people often forget, is that the future, it is up to us every single day. It's not just something hanging out there waiting.
Exactly.
Okay. So as a coach, as a Live Life Fully coach, Teresa, and I know you work with people a lot on what is it that they're going after? What is that future that they're wanting and the life that they're wanting to live? So as a coach, how important is it for people to think about their future self, do you think?
I think it's super important. That's where you're headed. It's probably the most important experience of future casting, is to actually be able to see and meet yourself in the future. I think my husband is a respiratory therapist, and one thing that he says at the hospital is when people are on their deathbeds, that it's not like I could have done this more, I could have gone to work more, I should have done this or should have that. And I know that you love the word should, right? And they say this all the time. And the one thing that they always say, or they come back to, is the things that meant the most to them. So spending more time with their loved ones, spending more time with their family members, and also the dream that they didn't accomplish that they felt that was sole purposed. And those are the things that often come up. And so when you think about this future self experience, I always think if I was sitting across the table from my future self, what does that version of me look like? One that's not shaped by fantasy, but one that is shaped by courage, right? I know that I would need them to ask me, I would need to ask them, what do you need from me today so that you can exist?
Oh my God, it's so beautiful. So you would ask the future self you, what do you need from me today so that you can exist?
Exactly.
So good. Now, if you're just starting with somebody who's never considered future self, never even thought about that, and has never heard or considered the word future casting, how far in the future would you say for a person?
I think if I was just starting with someone, I probably would go fairly soon into the future. And then as that experience of future casting builds in them, they build that muscle, almost like going to the gym and getting more practice, getting more exercise, seeing further and further away. But I think I would start closer. So I would probably start somewhere in next year, 6 months to a year, and then move out from there.
Yeah. And I love that. And I love the whole idea of timelines. And I often get pushback from clients that I work with, but they're like, I don't want a timeline. I don't want to set a deadline. And I'm like, okay. And I'm paid to push as a coach. So we're going to come up with that. But I agree. I would start also. And then when people start talking about the importance of their family or their children or their spouse, I'm like, okay, so you're talking about your child who's 15 today. And one day they're going to get married, maybe, or one day this big event is going to happen. And do you want to be there? And what do you want that to look like? And to kind of help them with that future version of themselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's deeply tied to the people that we love and the experiences that are tied to our traditions, our beliefs, our values. And so if you can angle in there, then it'll open up that entire experience for them of, well, I want to be the kind of grandma that can pick them up on the weekends and take them on trips, or I want to do this and I want to do that.
Yes.
And I think that really does, once you get that casted, then it could be like, okay, so what do we need to do in order to get us there in the now, right? And I think that's the beauty of coaching.
I
Yeah.
love that you brought that up about the grandparent wanting to pick up the grandkids on the weekends. I literally have a client I'm working with. She has 2 children. They're both under the age of 12. And she is talking about health and wellness. And she's like, I want to stay my healthiest because one day I think my children want to have children. They'll want to also have children. And I want
Yeah.
to be able to get up and down off the floor easily to be able to play with them. And I'm like, oh my gosh, her kids are 12 and or less than under 12 years old. And she's thinking that way. Like, that's amazing.
That is amazing. That's going to
Yeah.
be one healthy grandmama.
I know. When I'm working with clients, and I know this has happened to you too, I don't know, but I'm pretty certain as their clients are starting to say something like that lady, I'm like, oh gosh, my children are adults and one day they're going to have kids and I want to start thinking about getting up and down off the floor easily. But I'd never thought about it like
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah.
So the same thing happens, I guess, while we're coaching is things that pop up for us.
I love that. Yes. I want to be able to bend down and pick up the Legos or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think that also brings up, like, what are we postponing, right? Because in that particular scenario, we might be postponing like exercise or
Right.
whatever that looks like for you. I'm not one to suggest you have to go to a gym. Maybe it's walking, maybe it's running, maybe it's biking, maybe it's swimming, maybe it's dancing in your kitchen to your favorite jams, right? Like, it could look like just about anything. So the thing, when I think about even that situation, I'm immediately asking myself, what are we postponing in the now in order to have that vision?
Right. Yeah. Okay. So future self and getting to meet that person. So you mentioned earlier that you would ask your future self at the table, okay, future self, what do you need from me today so
Mhm.
that you can exist in the future? Are there other very specific questions that you would ask your future self?
I think I would probably say, I would ask, what do I need to let go of? I think I would ask, what fear do I hold that's not worth carrying? I think I would ask, what do I need to become? Not to achieve success, but to sustain it.
Okay, beautiful. So really it's getting in touch with that inner knowing that we really have,
Absolutely.
that we don't always let out.
Yeah. What am I missing? Like, what am I not paying attention to is even probably a bigger part of that, right? I think when we have fears, when we have worries, when we have these concerns or beliefs about ourselves that may be limiting, we tend to kind of suppress those things and just live in the happy places of our lives.
Sure.
And that feels better. And the reality of like future casting has to be getting real with what is the thing that you really do want to change, but you're just choosing not to because you haven't developed a system or a program in order to make that happen where it feels more realistic and not so far away.
So something that I've been doing lately, I'd love to share is lately, no, that's not true. It's been for a couple of years, several years now, is when there is something that seems bigger than possible or a fill in the blank, whatever, hard,
Mhm.
challenging, although I don't like those words. But anyway, like Kimberly, come back down to earth. Those kind of ideas I've been doing is whatever I'm like, yeah, that's probably impossible, or I don't know if I have enough time, or if I have enough energy, or if I have enough smarts, or whatever, fill in the blank. A thing that I have truly been working on going back to is, okay, Kimberly, identify all the places in your life where you have been successful, or all the places in your life that you have achieved something. Starting with, I learned to walk. Like I wasn't
Yeah.
year old and I learned to walk. Yo, that was hard stuff.
I love it. That's so great.
And so with hard stuff, and I did it anyway, I can do stuff.
You
And
can do
so
stuff.
And I've not always had that way of thinking, especially, I'd say it started especially after 2018. And so now anytime I'm like, yeah, I don't know, or I don't know if I'm blank enough, I'm like, no, wait. I learned to walk. I also learned to ride a bike, to tie my shoes, to spink. Like, what? That is hard. And then I made it through kindergarten, all the way up through 12th grade. I did.
You
And then
did
went to
it.
college and then went to more college. Like, what? Y'all, we don't give ourselves enough credit. And so whenever truly, I mean, it sounds silly, like I learned to walk, but for real, that is hard to know how many times. I don't know if you know how many times you fell down. I don't know the
Mm.
exact number, but it was probably a bazillion, jillion, whatever number that is, times infinity that I fell
Right.
down. And yet today I can walk.
Absolutely.
It's a big damn deal.
You can strut today, in fact.
That's right. That's right.
You can dance.
Yes. Like what? And so even though it sounds silly, it actually does fuel me because then I'm like, oh yeah, like that was harder than whatever the idea is that I've come up with for the week.
Absolutely.
So it's like we do have proof.
We do.
So when we're asking our future self, like, what is it? Like Teresa, what you said, like, what is something I need to let go of? Where is there fear that I am really choosing and allowing to block my progress or to block my next step forward? And then to be able to sit back with your current self and remind yourself, you learned to walk.
You did.
Dang it.
You know what I love about this? This also brings up labels, right? Because
Yes.
you and I have had a conversation about labels before where like at some point this younger version of self was so courageous that it said, I'm going to walk. I'm going to put things in my mouth. I'm going to touch the hot stove. I'm going to do all this ridiculous stuff just because I'm so curious. And I may not even know what courage is yet, but I'm literally fulfilling courage on a daily basis.
Yes.
And yet then here comes these labels, right? And we let people label us throughout our lives. And then before you know it, we wake up one day and we're believing the labels instead of the fact that we were born into a position of courage,
Yes.
right?
Yes. I have a note that I keep here in front of me. I don't know if you can see it, but it says curiosity. And so I keep that. And anytime I flip this is my Kimberly idea pops in the brain pages. And so when I flip the page on the next, I will write curiosity again. And that is my reminder. I do want to stay curious every day, curious about
Mhm.
others. Yes. And I want to remain curious about myself. I literally learn things about myself every single day through every conversation that I have,
Mhm.
which makes my future self talk. So it's
Yeah, that's amazing. It's one courageous decision can introduce you to a completely different tomorrow.
yeah. Right. Say that again. One courageous decision.
One where we're walking and dancing in the rain sometimes.
Yes. Yeah. So good. Oh my gosh. I love it. And I love this conversation about future self conversations. Yeah. So, okay, Teresa, tell us what is something that you want everyone listening to ask themselves today, or what can they start their conversation with their future self? How can they start it?
I would say to remember that every day you're either rehearsing your past or preparing for your future. So ask yourself when these thoughts come up, when these worries, fears, concerns, when you're in a space of curiosity, because that's likely when it's going to show up, when you're being curious and you want to step out and you want to do something different, something great. It could be anything, guys. You don't have to write a book. You might want to bake. You might want to paint. Whatever your heart desires. And a fear or a thought, a worry, a way where you're breaking down and pushing your curiosity down about this possibility of things. I want you to ask yourself, am I rehearsing the past or am I looking into my future?
Yeah. Beautiful. I'm so glad you joined us today, Teresa. Thank you so much. And for everyone listening, remember to live life fully and enjoy every moment. Teresa, we'll see you again soon.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kimberly.